This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Matt, so I have a bit of a confession I have to make today.
It's about time.
Yeah, so most people don't know this, but I am a recovering crack addict.
You know, I was going to say something. I suspected for years that there was an issue.
Yeah.
But when you say crack, you're obviously not talking about illegal drugs here.
I'm not talking about meth. Nope. I am talking about, or cocaine. I am talking about chiropractic care. So have you ever seen those videos where like people are getting adjusted and you can hear the cracking?
Oh, absolutely. I love that sound.
I love the sound. It's like ASMR. It's my type of ASMR. And I just like watching the transformations. Like people walk in hunched or in pain. And then all of a sudden like they're feeling better. You know, and so
they walk in like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and they walk out like LeBron James.
Yeah, exactly. So on the show today we have Ranveer Sahota with Synapse Chiropractic.
Wow, you said his name. You must know him for a while. If you can say his name that fast.
Ranveer is the only other man that's allowed to touch my wife. Let's just put it that way. Because
Wait, say his name again.
Ranveer.
What's your last name?
Sahota. Am I doing this right?
You are.
Because we've been friends for a few years now. You've never. Okay.
You just said it so fluidly and fast, like you've said it number of times.
We have gone through some life events. So how I met Ranveer was at the birth center, right?
Correct.
The California Birth Center?
California Birth Center.
Oh, you work with Trish and all them?
So we do work with them. And the main way we met is we were actually in the same class because our wives were pregnant at the same time.
Oh, got it.
So it was the first, you guys had a daughter and we were having a son. And so we were going through the birth classes and everybody else kind of had like regular jobs and like they were employees. And Ranveer rolled up in this nice car, and we're like, "Oh, what does he do? He's a chiropractor."
Oh my gosh, seriously!
And then we could like relate.
What are you, a girl? Well, look at his car. Let's go find out what he does for a living. Find out if he's single.
No. I was like, okay, well, this dude looks like he's like operating on a level that maybe we can have things to talk about. And sure enough, talking about being self-employed, having to work, like Valerie gave birth, and then a couple days later she was back at it. Rumman. Your wife's name is Rumman. Correct. His wife's name is Rumman. And so, anyways, that's how we met. And so, not only has Ranveer adjusted me and Valerie, he's adjusted Jack. He's helped Valerie through like the second birth, the second pregnancy, because we didn't know you through the first pregnancy.
That's right.
It was more like the mid, right?
Right.
And now Valerie's like, oh my gosh. So, anyways. I go about once a week, just full disclosure. I'm not paid to say this. Ranveer's not giving me a discount. I don't believe in the buddy discounts. I want to pay full price if they're doing a good job. But I go about once a week. So I see Ranveer once a week, and Valerie's probably about every 2 weeks.
Can we start real quick with, since you brought it up, treating children? About what age? Because I've heard some chiropractors even adjust babies like when they're weeks born.
Yeah, he did that with Jack. But what's your take on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to checking babies, it's really doing an assessment to see if there's anything going on. And the main thing is that babies are hanging out in the womb for 9 months, floating around in water, and then all of a sudden they come into life.
Gravity.
And, gravity. They get pulled out most of the time. And especially if it's a C-section versus a natural birth, you're going to have a lot more of a pull to get the baby out. And so the first trauma that the baby experiences is at birth. The process is just as traumatic for babies as it is for the mom. And we allow moms how much time to recover after birth and really get things together. But no one really thinks about what the babies went through. And so we check babies within the first month for most of the moms that come into our practice. And it's not necessarily making an adjustment, but it's just checking to see if there's anything going on. We want to make sure that all the reflexes are intact. We also want to make sure that head positioning, that's a big one nowadays, is normal. Some babies will really favor one side over the other. Mm-hmm. And so as they're developing, that can often lead to a scoliosis. And so we want to make sure that everything spine-wise is in proper alignment. And doing that first check within the first month is a good time to do it. I actually adjusted my first daughter on the first day within the first few hours when I was at the birth center. And the reason is that she was born and she was lifting her head up straight out of the womb. And most people would look at that and be like, oh, baby has such a strong neck, can already pick up the head. That's a good thing. But for me, knowing everything myself, that tells me that there's a ton of tension in the muscles in the neck and the upper back area that shouldn't be there. And so I ended up adjusting her right away, and she slept for almost 2 hours right off the bat.
Wow.
Allowed my wife some time to recover. But what we figured out afterwards is the reason that she was doing that is she actually had oral ties. So she had a tongue tie, a lip tie, and a cheek tie.
Wow.
Really?
And that's why she had all that tension coming out of the womb.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
So to answer your question, hours, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jack got adjusted at one point early on. He was like crying and fussy, and it was his arm. One of his arms was not doing something because I think he came out like a diver.
Raising his hand?
Yeah, he had his hand raised.
I have a question.
And
Can you put me back in?
and so his shoulder and his neck was kind of jacked up. And then as soon as like Ranveer just adjusted him, you could just see like this little kid, just all of a sudden, baby, like, oh, just relax.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that
anyways,
amazing?
Yeah.
And I've even adjusted Ben.
Oh, I haven't been there for any of those though.
So Ben
I was like, Ben who? Oh yeah, that's the second kid.
There's also a Ben.
There's also a Ben.
Yes.
But yeah.
Are there any other kids that Johnny Jennings might not be aware of that he's the father of that you've treated?
Hey,
That's it so far.
so far, as far as we know. But yeah. So obviously, I've known Ranveer now for at least 3 years.
Yeah.
Ben's Jack's 3.5, and so Jack and your daughter play. So they play together. He's been a part of our life now for years, and so I thought it'd be a great idea to have him on the show because we've benefited from his services, and Valerie grew up going to chiropractors, so she was raised in that. I was not. I was super anti it. I thought they were quacks, witch doctors. I didn't believe in it. But what changed my opinion was I had just started dating Valerie, and I was doing dips at the gym, and all of a sudden my chest just popped and I had this like searing pain.
Oh man.
And what happened is I separated my sternum. And so my sternum bone was like, you could see it like popping out of my chest. And I'm like, well, crap, that's not good. I just started dating Valerie and she's like, well, hey, how about you go to a chiropractor? I'm like, no, that's not that. I want to go to a real doctor.
Right, exactly.
And she's like, well, no, just go to the chiropractor. And at the time my insurance covered it. And so I went, and that son of a gun, he was able over the course of like a couple months, put it back in. And like, I have no issues. I didn't need surgery. I didn't need anything. And in the process of going there, I also had headaches. Like I had just been living with headaches. And so while he's working on my sternum, he also would adjust my neck. And then I noticed my headaches. Like I never had a headache again. And I was like, okay, I'm a believer in chiropractic care now. So anyways, we've been to a lot, but we haven't been. So in the local area, we've probably tried, because we moved up here in January of 2018. So we're not from the area. But we've probably been to somewhere around 20 different chiropractors.
Why? Why so many? Why are you hopping around?
Because Valerie has a trick neck. Like Valerie, there's only been two chiropractors, the one that she grew up going to in Bakersfield and Ranveer, that can adjust her neck. And so
you've tried different chiropractors that can address her neck, and none of them have been successful in doing that except for the one in Bakersfield and
Ranveer.
Where are you from? Are you from Bakersfield? Maybe it's something to have to do with Bakersfield.
No, he's way cooler than Bakersfield.
Most everybody is way
My wife's from Modesto. That's kind of like Bakersfield.
Oh, you're from Modesto?
No.
My wife is from Modesto.
Oh, okay.
I was born in the Bay Area, but raised up in Washington State. So
Oh, there you go. Love it. Yeah.
So anyways, that's why he's on this show, because again, we've probably been to 20 different chiropractors in the Sacramento region, and Ranveer with Synapse is different. I've known you for years, obviously, and can you just share a little bit about the genesis of like why you became a chiropractor and how you came up with Synapse?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it was the same thing as you. It was a personal experience that got me into chiropractic. I was a cross-country runner growing up. I ran track and I played basketball. And so for me, I started getting injuries around my junior year in high school where I started feeling knee pain, back pain, and I didn't really know why, other than the fact that I was probably putting in 500 miles every summer just training to set PRs and So what
Can I pause you right there and ask a quick question? Because
Yeah.
you mentioned running. Is running a bad exercise? Is it bad for your body?
I wouldn't say running is bad for your body, but it does put a lot of wear and tear on your body if you're doing it excessively.
Okay.
But
Like it was for you then?
it was for me, and there's a reason why it was for me though, because your body has the ability to adapt to whatever you're putting it through if everything is functioning the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
And for me, things weren't functioning the way they're supposed to be. So I ended up going to a medical doctor because I didn't even know what a chiropractor was at that time.
Really?
And so I went to a medical doctor, and he literally looked at me for like 5 minutes, asked me a couple questions, told him where my pain was, and he said, well, why don't you just take a month off from running and everything should be better. And at this point, when I had gotten to the doctor, I was already a senior, and it was my last year. I'm like, I can't take a month off from running. That just pretty much ends my season right there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I decided to do was try physical therapy instead, because that was the other option that they gave me. So I went to a physical therapist, and it did help me. I felt like I was getting a little bit stronger, but my pain was still there. It wasn't going away. And that's when my dad recommended going to a chiropractor that he knew. He had been in a car accident, and so he went to a chiropractor for a while, and he said, hey, why don't you try this guy out? I went over there, and it honestly was just eye-opening for me, because this was the first doctor, my first experience with the doctor, that spent time actually showing me where my body was at, taking x-rays and showing me the imbalance that's going on. And this is terrible, but back then I used to wear my wallet in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Did you have a George Costanza wallet? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
Thick old
From
wallet.
the movie, or from the show Seinfeld, George Costanza had a wallet like this,
Okay.
like 5 inches thick, because he'd put everything into it, pennies, candy, and so when he sat down, he was a little lopsided.
Yeah.
I don't even carry a wallet anymore for that's part of the reason.
But he saw that you had the wallet.
Yeah, he asked me, like, he saw my x-rays and he saw an imbalance in my
Yeah,
hips,
there
and he
you
said,
go.
are you wearing like something in your back pocket? And I told him I wear my wallet in there, and I sit in class and all that all day. This is when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, first thing we got to do is take that out.
Yeah.
And then we're going to work on balancing your hips out. And within a couple of weeks, things just started changing for me, started feeling a lot better. And then I started looking at it from, well, if this has gotten me out of the pain that I had, how much can this actually help me with my performance when it comes to running? And so that's why I continued going. And that was my why at that point. I saw so many people coming into the office, people coming back over and over because they're getting the changes that they want. They're seeing their lives change. And I wanted to do the same thing. And so I knew right out of high school that I was going to be a chiropractor. So I went to college, focused
So you didn't
on
want to be a
just,
track and field star.
no,
You gave up on that.
gave up on all of that. I knew those, there was chances of those were slim. So
Because I got to carry my wallet in my back pocket.
So I decided to go into university, focus strictly on chiropractic, got all my prereqs, went straight into chiropractic school, and I graduated by the time I was 27. And
Is that fast? Is that slow? I don't know.
it is pretty fast. I mean,
Okay.
you're right on track with everything else. A lot of people that come to chiropractic school, they usually come after they've tried one or two other professions.
Okay.
And now
Were
they
your
wanna
parents
shift
on
into
board with
something.
this? Like, hey, why don't you go to real medical school? Why don't you become a real
Yeah.
doctor? If you're going to spend all this money in these years of education, why chiropractic?
I think because my dad had the experience with the chiropractor himself and he knew my passion for it, he was open to the idea. But being in an Indian family and looking at my wife's side of the family,
Yeah.
everyone is real doctors.
Are you serious? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
That's why I was going to I said that, yeah.
Exactly. So it's funny, but the cool thing now is whenever we have family gatherings or we get together,
You have to sit at a different table.
no,
The real doctors over
that
here,
would be
the
You're,
chiropractors
you're gonna sit
over
with the
here.
kiddie table, Ranveer.
No.
Because, well, to be honest, you guys somewhat differ in the way you treat people, wouldn't you say? You're more of
Absolutely.
preventative care and kind of like natural, allowing the body to heal itself, whereas medical doctors are all about drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hilarious because when we are together in those settings, all the parents, family members are coming to me for advice or want me to work on them, whereas they can't do the same thing with any of the other cousins that are there.
Exactly.
Book an appointment with my receptionist.
I'm like, why don't you ask them for some pills right now?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Get a prescription.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll laugh about it because they're like, oh, he can't do anything for me right now. He's not going to write me a prescription. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, and on that
free.
same topic, one of the biggest things for me from a mindset standpoint is if I'm going to do something, I like to dive 100% into it. So me personally, I haven't even taken an Advil or a Tylenol in over 14 years.
Oh,
so
wow.
I haven't taken.
You're tougher than I am.
In my body, yeah, and there's been some pretty bad hangovers and things like that where I've avoided those. So I would say, yeah. Now I'm at that point where, yeah, it's just it's more of a lifestyle for me, and so when other people in the family see me, they just want to jump in and know what I'm doing differently, and it makes a big difference. Just helping everybody else get on board.
But I love that story. So it's not like you got into chiropractic for the money or, for the profession. You got into it because you had a personal experience, a positive personal experience. You wanted to help others.
I had no idea how much money you could even make in chiropractic. So yeah, that was not even a goal of mine. The one thing I knew was that I wanted to help people the same way that I got help from chiropractic.
Mm-hmm.
Was your wife, where'd you meet? Did you meet your wife in high school or?
No, actually, I met my wife after high school while I was in college. And she came, like I said, she comes from a medical family. Both her parents work in the hospital.
Yeah.
And she's an x-ray tech herself. Now she does mammography. And so she had a lot of issues going on when we first met. She was experiencing headaches, digestive issues. And so I mean, I think she married me because I am a chiropractor. That's probably why she married me.
Yeah. So not only did it heal you personally, but it helped you find your wife.
Yeah.
Hey, I hope one of my kids might become a chiropractor because then that's like they're younger than me, so it's like free adjustments for life, son. Come on. All right. When we come back, we're going to be talking about stories where you have helped people and how you've helped them.
With all the ups and downs and uncertainties in the stock market, all the unanswered questions, I'm sure you would appreciate a sure thing, a guarantee. Listen up. Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty, right now they've got this special offer where they're guaranteed to give you at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. No need to do costly home repairs or stagings or showings or getting things organized. It's simple, it's easy, it's convenient. Again, they say there's no guarantees in life. Well, they haven't talked to Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty. Again, 3 guaranteed cash offers on your home in as-is condition. Just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.